Sport fans, I'm Michael Sakella.
I'm Brandon Wicker.
And how the hell are you?
Once again, coming to you live from Belsino's in Fort Myers.
Yeah, the grinders and the pizza, you gotta love it. You gotta love it.
Gotta love it. And the Bud Light.
So, let's jump right into baseball.
No, let's not.
And
Let's start the show off properly.
okay, you want to go right into it? Please.
Let's talk about that character, the second string player in San Francisco.
I haven't really been paying attention to him lately. Has he done anything lately?
Oh, you're not set up for that?
No.
Okay, let's go.
Well, so everyone, please rise for the playing of our national anthem.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and against red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Nice,
Well,
nice.
she hits that high note good, doesn't she?
She sings that song perfectly. Well, Brenda, during that
Before we jump to baseball, which
Yeah.
I think you want to do first, I was laughing at the Dolphins because they got their two little kneelers on Thursday night, and they got their clock wiped. So that was good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, while we were listening to the anthem and whatnot, I just happened to be looking at the TV. I don't know if I was more impressed with the college student from Clemson doing that dance that they just showed, or the fact that his buddy was holding him up on his shoulders that whole time as he was dancing. 'Cause that kid didn't look like, he looked like he had a couple of
Can we
pounds.
talk
of
about some real sports?
I mean, that kid was absolutely hilarious.
What do you got going on?
All right, so, like I was saying, let's get right into the American League and let's talk about the
2
races.
games to go, 3 for Detroit possibly.
So, can you kind of explain Detroit's situation? Because they seem to have the most exciting and most unique situation if it all pans
Well, they're
out.
half game out, and,
Yes.
and remember now Seattle's 1 game out.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking, and Detroit's a game behind everybody because they had a rain out earlier this season. So if they just remain where they're at, they're going to have to play that game because by virtue of winning it, they would put that even with the others. And then if Seattle were to get lucky enough, I don't know who would have to lose. If Toronto would have to get off the schneid and start doing something, but Baltimore, I guess, would have to lose because they're a game up. Whatever puts Seattle in the mix, I wasn't even going to go there. I was just going to do Detroit. You know what I'm saying? But they would have to play that game Monday, and it could be the three-way tie where if the season ended today, it would be Toronto and Detroit playing to see who would play Baltimore.
Well, so that's what I mean. So if it all kind of hopefully works out, we got Detroit and Seattle would play each other for a playing game, and then Detroit would play in another playing game.
And that would be after they
And
play.
then
It
finally
could conceivably be 3.
That, you would have to think, from a baseball standpoint, that's what they want.
That's
because
what they
that's
wanted
crazy.
when they did that.
Now, we actually have the pleasure of having an individual who is a Detroit fan. Gary, what's your thought on your Tigers if they can pull off this playing game mania? I mean, you're talking they'd have a playing game, just a plain no playing game, which in turn eventually I guess they would make their way to Texas. They could possibly have 2 playing games and go to Texas. Do you think they can pull that off, Gary?
The way they've been playing, yes.
Yeah.
He says yes.
And wasn't it?
He bets the grinder on it.
If I'm not mistaken, I think if it all worked out, they could play in 5 different cities, 5 nights, because they would have to, because each time I think they go to a different place to play.
Exactly.
But I mean, then you consider if they do get to go to Texas, and whatnot. If I'm not mistaken, they would actually have 5 different cities and 5 different games, which is absolutely amazing.
I'm traveling.
Now, think of it this way: if in fact they pull this off and they play the playing game, they go to Texas. If Detroit was to make it to the World Series, would that not be one of maybe the best runs of a team to make it to the World Series, to have to go those travels?
Absolutely.
Now, I don't know anyone else who's ever done that. I mean, have we ever had a playing game to play? We haven't had this yet, have we?
We've had a playing game to the playing game.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Was that Pittsburgh?
We had the Pittsburgh Cubs last year.
Yeah, all right. Well, I do.
And there was another one in the American League, I think, before that. I'm not positive. I'd have to research it.
Because I know Boston and Cleveland still have to continue to keep winning, because either way they're going to play for a home field. They're
Right.
playing for that. So you would have to think, and my thought, I think Toronto's in the worst scenario right now, because they're playing a hot Boston team that is saying goodbye to Ortiz, and all that emotion.
And wants to win to play at home.
Baltimore's got 2 more games with the Yanks. I think put the fourth. The Yanks
And they're one up.
Yanks are done.
And the Orioles are one up, so they're in good shape.
Detroit's got Atlanta, and Seattle's got left with Oakland, and everybody seems to be winning.
Oh, looks like Detroit likes it in I don't know.
Yes, I noticed
Good
that.
game last night.
And isn't
4
it?
home runs last night, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Milky's getting hot again, right? Isn't Cabrera
Yep,
getting hot?
Cabrera's getting on the
hot,
ball.
Upton's getting hot.
See, that's all you need. That's all you need.
And he upped his bet. 3 grinders and a 6-pack. Detroit's in.
Now, over on the national side, can you explain that race?
Well, we're all done with Detroit, but Detroit will be there.
You heard
I
it,
think
folks.
they will.
You heard it.
I want them to, just because it makes it exciting that way when you're
Yeah.
getting like that.
See, last night the Dodgers blew it because they had a chance. Of course, San Francisco has to keep playing because St. Louis keeps winning. But
Yeah.
Dodgers wanted home field against Washington, and they lost. And of course, Miami had beat Washington, so that kind of hurt. There's 2 games left, and they would have to win both, and Washington have to lose both. So I don't know if I see that happen anymore.
No, I don't either.
And you got St. Louis still a game back with 2 to go. It's gonna take a Dodger win twice, probably on Frisco
Yeah.
to make that happen.
Well, like I said, to me, both Chicago and Washington want to get rid of one of their evils. They don't want both the Giants and the Cardinals just because of their postseason, play they've had in the recent years. You want the Mets to make it in. I mean, because the only chance I think the Mets have in the playoffs if they do, if Terry makes that phone call. Because we've already seen it. It only takes one swing in the bat for this guy to
We're
get
waiting
some
for
runs.
the Tebow mania here. Go ahead.
Tebow, it only takes. I still say let him throw out the first pitch. Now,
I think it was a setup.
now, on a sad note, for all the Marlins fans and family out there, we had a tragedy, boating accident. Mr. Jose Fernandez, 24 years young, unfortunately was taken from us. And I thought on, I believe it was Monday, was it? Or was it Tuesday? I think the Marlins, they had, the team came out, they rallied around the pitching mound. Everybody went out there. I think the Mets organization, they all went out there and gave hugs and things. I think it was a really nice
It's
session.
supposed to be like a great ceremony and everything to watch. Great game to watch. Again,
It's a shame.
senseless. Shouldn't have happened.
It's a shame.
And on a deeper note, we have a long-time legend that passed away.
Yeah, and Mr. Arnold Palmer, I believe he was 87 years old. Also, the legend himself passed away. We have to say that gentleman probably he had a good life. I think we'd all wish we had just a small portion of the life that gentleman had.
Yes.
So
Now you want to jump into football, I take it.
yes, but I wanted to start a new segment on this show, and I brought along my little toy. And this new segment is called the Stinker of the Week. You gotta love this. You gotta love when you can find stuff like this, don't
Give
you?
that kid a toy.
think that one was a little wet there. So, stinker of the week, huh? I'm going with the entire football team of the Houston Texans and what they pulled off, or should I say didn't pull off last week when they traveled to New England.
And I'm going to kind of agree with that, but just right up there with it, just as smelly was the Pittsburgh Steelers performance.
Yeah, but I mean, they go to New England. They're playing against a third-string quarterback, a option type football quarterback. He's 23 years old. It's Jacoby Brissett.
And so what's the difference? They
Well,
go to Philadelphia playing against a rookie quarterback.
But at least he can throw the ball. I mean, this guy goes 11 for 19, 103 yards passing. He rushes for 8 times, 48 yards, gets a touchdown. I mean, come on.
You would have to agree, 27-0 and 34-3.
Yeah, but still, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, this was apparently they were the third-ranked defense going in. They had 9 sacks after 2 games, and they couldn't even stop a guy that can't even throw the ball. I mean, then what did the Pats do? They just smoke a blunt all over him. This guy goes for 24 carries, has 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran all over him and broke Asfelder. You know what he did? Broke Asfelder. He had 196 yards, an interception. He got sacked twice. He just basically sucked up the field as well.
I wanted to remind you though that they didn't have like the stats over the top of Texans like you would think they would have in that game. They just didn't have it.
And then the true stinker of that whole game. 2 fumbles on the kickoff. Who the freak does that? How do you not control the ball? Come on, it's a kickoff. Hold it. Come on.
You know what I think the worst part about all that is?
Huh.
Because it was only game 3 of the season. Is that the Texans lost J.J. Watt.
Yeah, I think that, and that's probably the biggest stinker of it is J.J. is done for the season. I think he's getting some back surgery, and I don't know if this team's going to recover from that.
Could you cut down on the onions?
Oh man, so now my new toy I got here. Let me see if I can turn this thing on. I'll tell you what, I gotta love these toys.
Yeah, his wife
Now, as we do every week, is what did we learn from last week? So I'll start with you. What did you learn from last week?
No, well, I'm going to turn it back on you. I can't stand this type of stuff, but this is right up your alley, so you're going to talk.
Right.
Are you ready for this?
Yes. The first
Wait.
thing.
No, you have to answer my thing.
What's that?
Okay, we have Patriots, Eagles, Vikings, Ravens, and Broncos. And we need you, Mr. Cicala, to rate which one of these undefeated juggernauts are the best.
Well, that's very easy because this is one of the things I learned last week about Wencedelphia. Now this rookie's getting better week after week, and the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. I mean, it's always determined. It only takes 3 weeks, and boom, we're in the Super Bowl. So it's definitely got to be the Eagles. How can it not?
A lot.
You know, the Eagles are a lock. I mean, I think they've already won the game. So now,
what do you think about the Browns game where they came out with their third-string quarterback and actually looked
I think
like a team?
the Browns are at least they're
The
trying.
coach would make a play.
They're trying. I think they definitely made strides. I believe Mr. Gordon, as we speak, is in rehab and he's sitting around a circle telling everybody, my name is Josh Gordon. I'm a professional football player and I just can't get off the weed. So I'm here instead of being playing on the field on Sunday because I'm an idiot.
I wasn't going to go there, but I heard that they're done with him. They're going to cut him.
Of course. No, they already did. They cut him. You had to. What are you going to do with this kid? You know, it's ridiculous. He's got all that talent and he just can't stop. It's wasted talent. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, one of the things I learned this week was that the Winter Boy will be starting for the Patriots this week, and they will still win the football game.
Actually, the latest news this morning that Garoppolo and Brissett are both questionable, so they may not need Element to play quarterback.
No, I'm telling you, I think the Winter Boy. I think they've spoke to the kid. I think he's going to put the Gatorade down, he's going to put the helmet on, and he's going to say hi.
You know, Belichick likes to hide the injury list. One of those two are going to play.
We're just going to be real good in all 4 phases of the game, and we're just going to make a decision on who's going to be our starting quarterback this week. You know, we're up against the Bills, and Ryan, that funny character. You know, he made fun of me this past week, and fuck him.
Good job, Bill.
So then you got here, what I also learned was that Seaman and the Broncos are still undefeated. And
That was amazing. I didn't think Cincinnati was going to lay an egg like that. It was unreal.
I also learned that the new color for kryptonite is purple. That defense,
I've known that.
that defense, like Jackson, if you're nasty, is out of control. I mean, they held Superman to under 300 yards, 3 interceptions. He got sacked 8 times. He had a passer rating of only 47%.
Whoop that ass.
And guess what? They even held Olsen down. Olsen only had 6 catches for 64 yards. And this game was played in Carolina. Is that team really that good?
On the road, they smoke.
Are they? Because, I mean, if you think about the week before they beat the Packers, and now they just go into Carolina, I have yet to physically watch them play, but I have to assume that this team's for real.
No, I told you.
One other thing I learned that is Fitzgerald sucks. He just sucks. I don't know why.
He's a quarterback who had a bad game, threw 6 picks.
Another thing I learned is that Dak, my man, should just be left in for the rest of the season, whether Tony is healthy or not. Let the young man get his lumps, learn how to play football, learn how the NFL is played, and just be done with it.
Are you at all worried that Blaine Gabbert could bring you back to earth this week?
I look at it this way. This team is not a playoff team. They're not built to go to the playoffs and win. So why not just make this year a learning process? And then next year they start building on their defense, which they need to do. They got all the offensive weapons. Their offense is done. Now let's build a defense and maybe.
But you're 2-1 and the Eagles are 3-0. I thought you had it all wrapped up.
No, the Eagles already going to the Super Bowl. The Cowboys, we watched them.
Not even a wild card?
Even if they make it the wild card, big deal. They can't stop anyone. They'll never win in a shootout game. This team cannot win. If they go 8-8, I'll be happy. That's about as far as they're going to go. They're not all that.
You heard it here, 8-8 Cowboys.
Yeah. And then last thing that I learned, compliments of the Don, that for the past 30 years of my life, all the issues and all the problems I have are a result, and it was all Hillary Clinton's fault. That's what I come to. So I wanted to thank her.
This is not a political show.
No, but I just wanted to make sure that I found out. I realized why I'm where I'm at now. It's all because of Hillary. It's her fault that I'm all screwed up. So it just goes to show you, women are out to wreck men.
I can tell you that you're screwed up with or without her.
No, I'm telling you, it's all her fault. I can tell you right now, everything going forward is her
Enough of
fault.
that BS. Let's get back to football.
All right, now speaking of football, we got week 4. What are you looking at in week 4?
I'm going to go for a Raider win over one of your undefeateds. Raiders go to, and they're 0-5 by the way, at Baltimore, and I'm taking the Raiders.
I was looking at this and I put on here upset alert. We have a few teams that are undefeated. We have actually 4 undefeated teams playing this week.
Your Eagles are going to stay undefeated because they have a bye.
Oh yeah, they have the bye, but you got the Pats at home against the Bills. To me, that would be a major surprise. The Ravens are at home and they have the Raiders, and I do have the Raiders winning that 31-30. Denver is going to Tampa. That could be, I don't know if they're overlooking or not, but they do play, the Denver plays the Falcons next week, so I don't think they're overlooking Tampa, but.
On paper, they should mop them.
They'd be surprised.
That's just paper.
And the Vikings are at home and the G-Men.
That's going to be a good game.
That would surprise me if the G-Men were able to pull that up, but I think out of the 4 of them, I'd also go with the Raiders beating the Ravens. Who else you got?
Another intriguing game to me is Chiefs and Steelers.
Ooh.
That's the Sunday night game. Steelers coming off a beat down by a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
And Jamal Charles is going to get his first start of the season after coming off knee surgery. Again.
I believe Bell is back too, isn't he? For the
Bell is back from his dope smoking binge.
I think last week with the Eagles game, though once Philadelphia was very impressive. That defense, I think that defense they got to Ben when they needed to, and they kept it. They shut them down. I mean, this defense, it's a little underrated right now, under the radar. Nobody's really paying attention to them. But they're pretty good.
I think there's a wake-up call for the Steelers.
Yeah, they better get their shit back together.
It'll be tough for the Chiefs to go there and win. Roethlisberger's kicked at his performance. I'm sure. He bounced back pretty good after a beating.
Well,
what do you got?
It's a homecoming game for Mr. Luck. He's heading back to London, and London Bridge is falling down. I found out Yeah, I didn't know if you noticed or not, but last year they did a segment on Andrew Luck, and apparently he spent a few years of his youth in London. He actually lived there for a while. And I look for him to bounce back. I look for him to have one of those big 300-plus games, 3-4 touchdowns. And I think the Jags are only there because Roger Goodell told them to, and I see this being about a 48-20 or 42-28 blowout win for the Colts.
I see it being high scoring.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. But you are, and I'm not, and never will be behind the NFL going to England. really.
No, I still don't understand it.
Now they want to go to Mexico, so I don't get that either.
Next, I got a game that, when we talk about teams that have to travel cross country, like Seattle has to this week to go to New York, and then it's a 1 o'clock game. There's some tiredness involved, this, that, and the other.
That's an alert game right there.
And
The condition of Russell Wilson.
yeah, all those factors I would definitely factor in, but then you also got to remember that Seattle's traveling to go say hello to Mr. Fitzpatrick, which could change things. But
Yeah, what if he threw 6 touchdowns this week instead
Well,
of 6 picks?
I still like the Jets. I still like I like the fact that the Jets.
You said Jets, right?
Yeah, I do. I
Okay.
like the Jets in this simply because of their defensive front. I think they are going to shut down the run, and they're going to go after the one-legged Wilson.
I think with a healthy Wilson, the game is different. But if he's not,
He's hurt.
let's say 70 or less, I think they.
I think this is a defensive battle, and I think the home field defense.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be definitely
I do. I think it's going to be a hard-hitting game, and I think the defense of the Jets is going to get a couple of.
Do you think Forte is going to be able to run it all in that game?
I think that's all they're going to have. I mean, I wouldn't let Fitzpatrick throw. I'd let Forte go. I still say, unfortunately for Chicago, they should have never let him go. He's a good football player, and he's just that. He's a football player. So now, college football, we got a couple of good games today. There was a good game last
Already,
night.
Washington.
Blowout.
I couldn't believe that. Stanford, kind of looked halfway decent. I know it's early in the season, but
I
number
picked that.
10 knocks off 7, 44-6.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
I had Stanford win, and I'm watching that game. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I mean, I know home field makes a big deal in college.
I didn't know.
Come on.
I didn't know Washington was put together that good of a team.
So before we get to the big game, I guess we'll take these in strides. I mean, this game's not actually a big game, but it could be simply because of their name and their past. Miami is number 14, and they got Georgia Tech coming. And Miami's 3-0. And I say that because for college football, I think about the early past. I think about Florida State, Notre Dame, and Miami. They were always, those three were always in all this. Then, you throw in Ohio State as well. You'd be surprised, and not to mention, I believe Georgia Tech beat the crap out of Miami last year. So I'm taking Miami on this. I'm hoping that they keep the dream alive, and the Canes are still relevant this year.
I just put down ranked games. I saw that one, but I didn't do much
So
for me.
the first ranked game I'll talk about, I think, is the least of an important, is Tennessee 4-0 going
How about
to
the
Georgia.
balls?
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And then Georgia's just hanging in there.
Yeah.
They're ranked 25th, right? Bottom end.
I'm taking Tennessee in this because their defense really showed me something last week.
And it's at Georgia, so
Yeah.
that would be another neat trick.
Yeah.
Before you say anything about this
Yeah.
right here, first I'd like to congratulate them for their win against Michigan State last week. I mean, they blew them out.
They were
We
extremely.
didn't expect that.
No, they extremely impressive. What I didn't expect is this is unbelievable. I don't know who sets up these schedules.
Back to back, yeah.
They back to back Michigan State, and now this week they're going to
Against
Michigan.
number 4, yeah.
That's
And
unbelievable.
I don't look for
Can they
it'd be
pull
nice
it
to
off?
have a great performance like that, but I don't really see it coming.
Can they pull back-to-back performances off?
Michigan is 10.5-point favorites.
I don't agree with that. I don't see that. I mean, Michigan looks good, but come on. I mean, how many of those points are because of Harbaugh?
I've got a few players out on defense. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be
Yeah.
really tough.
I think that game.
And Ann Arbor. Ooh.
I think it's going to be your typical, what is it, Big 10, Big 12. It's going to be who can run the ball with it.
If I were to stay in the game and make it close, obviously
Yeah.
I want to win. But if I at least did that, then they'd be happy.
Yeah. And I guess the big college game is
We're gonna find out. Yeah.
Louisville and Clemson. We
People
got
can find
two-
out just what Louisville is and what Clemson is.
I guess we got two future possible superstar quarterbacks. Even though I don't really like their style of quarterback, and that they run a lot more than they pass. I don't see it making it so much in the NFL, but Cleveland's taking one of them, so they'll be the number one pick.
But,
I'm taking Clemson simply because of Clemson's defense.
but you're such a fan of Superman. How can that be?
Oh, against the kid from Louisville?
No. Quarterback style. You're a big fan of Superman, but
Yeah,
yet
but he
you don't
just
like
throws
either
the
one of
ball.
them.
Well, these guys, from what I see, these guys seem like they got to run. They have more of an RG3 running instinct.
Just to keep up the tension, you said the Clemson, I'll take Louisville.
So, I mean, so you know what that means, right, everyone? Louisville won that football game because I'm mush against this guy. So,
How about the, also in college football, the LSU Tigers letting go Les Miles?
yeah, I mean, I guess it was time. I mean, the team, you know,
I think he'd been there just a little too long.
yeah, I mean, you know.
Some of the recent events.
From what I hear on the radio, they're talking about, what's the dude's name from Florida State is, they're saying that he could possibly become their candidate.
Jimbo Fisher?
Yeah, they're talking about him. And then they're making a big deal. Do you make a big deal about this? The kid from Alabama who apparently, I guess, lost his starting job as a quarterback and decides to just take off and leave after 4 weeks of play. He just took off. He's gone.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that, yeah. I was going to say one more thing. We'd be remiss without saying this. Your number one and your number two this week have laughers. I typically call a laugh or anything with your favorite 30 points or more. So
Now, if I'm not mistaken,
Alabama and Ohio State.
Alabama, I believe, is taking playing Kentucky, I want to say, right?
Yes.
And
Yep.
who's Ohio State playing?
Rutgers.
Rutgers? Yeah.
Both favored by more than 30.
Right, you got all that. Well, most sport fans, another day, another dollar. Week 4 is coming at you. Everybody enjoy your weekend, enjoy your Sunday. What do you got to tell these people?
Go Cubs.
Go Cubs. Have a good one, everyone.